Do you ever wonder if your people pleasing is actually communicating something to people that maybe you don't want to be communicating? Do you even know what you're communicating to others when you're people pleasing? What if you stop people pleasing? What will you be communicating to people then who know you as a people pleaser? Well, we're going to be talking about that today on Boldly Driven Conversations with Bree. So make sure you join me. All right. So people pleasing. Whether we realize it or not, the people pleasing that we engage in is actually communicating to people whether we realize it or not. This is something I didn't really fully understand until probably like the last couple of years. And it really started hitting home for me what I had been communicating to others when I stopped people pleasing, probably in the last year. And it's been really interesting to me and really liberating for me too, now that I know what I'm actually communicating to people and what I don't want to be communicating to people that I didn't realize I was communicating with people pleasing. So the first thing that we are communicating to someone when we are people pleasing is that we prioritize other people. And what that tells someone when they recognize that is that the good is that, oh, you're considered very selfless. You'll be seen as very selfless. But you're also might be seen as a pushover. So someone who maybe you're in a new relationship with, or someone that, a friendship relationship, someone you just meet on the street, a business relationship, any kind of connection or relationship that you're having with someone, if they can recognize the tone of people pleasing, that maybe things that you're doing or saying are not fully something you believe or fully authentic about you, that is people pleasing. And either they're going to see you as a pushover and they're going to take advantage of that possibility, or they're going to see you as selfless, and oftentimes unconsciously they're going to use that. And it really is an unconscious thing, I think, is that you just kind of become the go-to person because you're really reliable and you're always there and you're super selfless. And, so oftentimes you get taken advantage of. That's what you're communicating to someone, is that, hi, take advantage of me. Oftentimes that's what we're communicating without even realizing it. What we're also communicating is that we are not, that we don't value our own boundaries. So if we establish a boundary with someone, but they recognize that we are a people pleaser, and maybe they're not even thinking to themselves, this person is a people pleaser, but what we're telling them, if we constantly people please, is that we don't value our own boundaries, and that the boundary that we set up, that eventually, if they push hard enough, or if they ask enough, or they just ignore them, that you're going to ignore those boundaries too. That there is a limit to you holding your boundary, and that you don't value your own boundaries. This happens a lot with children. This happens a lot with my middle child, where when I was in people pleasing mode, and when I fall back into it for whatever reason, because I'm a recovering people pleaser, I still make mistakes and I still find myself sometimes falling into that. He just pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes and doesn't stop. And I kind of conditioned him that way because I would give in because I want to please him. I want to make him happy. And as a parent, that's on me. That was my mess up. So this can happen not just in romantic relationships. An example of this that I can give you for myself as well is always making sure that the other person's needs are taken care of first, and pushing down your own needs and making their needs and emotions, job, all of their things in their life a priority over your own basic needs. And that was me to a T until a few years ago. So when we are people pleasing around others, we are telling people that we're going to prioritize their needs above our own. The next thing is that the second thing I would say that we communicate to people when we're people pleasing is that we have low self-esteem, that we don't really believe in ourselves, that we don't find ourselves worthy, that we don't really value our own opinions, we don't really value our own thoughts, we don't really value ourselves. So oftentimes, as we know, people pleasing comes from the fear of rejection. It also comes from the need for external validation in order to feel worthy, loved, whatever, accepted, valued. So what this is communicating to other people is that they can use that low self-esteem that we have to manipulate us to get what they want, especially if someone's like very devious, or, you know, they're not a genuine connection or a genuine relationship. We're communicating to others, and this is the danger, that we can be manipulated, that we will fall in line, that we have low self-esteem, and that what they have to say means more than what we have to think. And narcissists love this because they utilize it and to their advantage, and the victim, the person who they're doing this against, becomes very wounded, and your self-esteem plummets even more. So it's like a whole cycle. The third thing is I would say, is that you're afraid of conflict. That's what we're communicating to other people, is that we're afraid of conflict. And what this means is that we're not going to express our true opinions and feelings. And what this then further communicates when we are in a relationship, a friendship, a business relationship of some sort, any kind of connection, even with our family, is that we're not being our genuine, authentic self. And this will create distrust. And people won't be able to actually trust that you are being honest with them about your own feelings or opinions on a subject. And oftentimes I have found, when I have communicated this to someone, unbeknown to myself, is that you don't create a genuine connection with that person. It's not a deep connection. Everything becomes surface. And what we think might be a deep connection on our side is not on their side, because they can't trust you, because they see your pattern of people pleasing, oftentimes with everybody else, maybe not even with them, but they see you people pleasing with other people, and how you have the low self-esteem, how you're prioritizing other people's needs. And they recognize that, and then they think, well, if they're doing that with that person, they're probably doing it with me too. So I can't really believe what they're saying when they tell me that they really like this thing, or they don't like this thing, or, you know, they're just saying whatever they think I want to hear. And so it makes you feel disingenuous. It makes you feel like you're not being honest, even if you really are with particular people. But if people see you people pleasing with others, that's what they're going to think, is they're going to think and believe you're not being genuine with them. And this will damage your relationship, whatever relationship it may be, because you're not being authentically yourself, because you're doing things to please other people. Probably because you're afraid of rejection and you don't want to share your actual opinion. So when the difference then, I would say there's one more thing. There's probably one more thing. I think the last thing that we communicate to people when we are not people pleasing is that you're not going to assert yourself. So what that means is that you're not going to communicate your needs, and that honestly, you're going to be a typical human. Because especially like in a romantic relationship, or like a friendship, or even in a business relationship, what they're going to see is that you're not going to, again, share your opinion, share your needs. And like, especially like with a professional relationship or a business relationship, what often is going to happen is that you are going to say, yes, that's fine, or you're not going to say anything out of fear of rejection or conflict, because you're afraid of conflict, because you don't want to assert yourself, that you are not going to want to be the client that someone's going to want to work with, because you're going to come back later and say, oh, this person did a bad job. Or, perfect example, I went to a nail salon once, and I had asked for a manicure and a pedicure, and I had two different people do it. The pedicure was awesome. The person who did the pedicure was fantastic. It was great. But then I went to go get the manicure, and I had expressed to the person that during the winter time, especially, like my hands get really dry, and my cuticles like crack really bad, and then I start picking at them, and it's like really bad. It's horrible. It's a terrible habit. But I had communicated this to the nail tech, and said I need some help. Like I need help with like moisturizing and taking care of my hands. And the nail tech completely ignored what I had said, and they were really rough, and like my fingers started bleeding because of the cracked cuticles. Like it was a horrible experience. But prior, I did not really share what I wanted. Like I didn't say specifically, I want paraffin wax on my hands. Like I just said, my fingers are really tender and really dry. And I just assumed that this person was going to do what I needed to fix my hands. And they ended up just giving me like a basic manicure, and it really ticked me off. And like, as I'm realizing this person is giving me just the basic manicure, I didn't say anything. I didn't stop them. Like, and they cut my nails down really short. And at the time I was keeping my nails really long. I'd been really growing them out. And I didn't speak up for myself. I didn't assert what I wanted. I needed. And so I became a difficult customer. You know, I became the customer that every person like hates. Since then, I've learned to assert myself. And if I don't like the way something is being done, I stop them. I say something, specifically with like manicures and pedicures, because you pay a buttload of money for those things. You know, it is supposed to be like a self-care thing. Anyhow, what we're communicating when we're not being assertive is that we are potentially going to be a difficult person, because we're going to come back later and we're going to be like, give a bad review, especially in a business, or you're just someone that they don't want to work with because you're not going to be communicative. Okay. So, but here's the thing. If you find yourself in that category, like you're hearing me and you're like, yeah, that's me. That's me. Yeah, that's me. Once you stop people pleasing, this is what you're going to be communicating to people, especially when they notice the change. The first thing you're going to communicate to someone that maybe you people pleased with before is you're going to communicate to them that I value myself. I value myself. I have self-respect. I know what I want. I have a healthy sense of self-worth. That's what you're going to be communicating. And that's also going to communicate to them that you can no longer be taken advantage of, and that your opinions matter, and that you are not someone to be messed with. That's what you're communicating. And to me, that's a good thing. That's a good thing, especially if you haven't valued yourself. It also is going to be communicating that you had growth and change. Because here's the thing is, if you show that you value yourself, then your interactions, your genuine interactions of care and kindness with others and help that you give is going to be seen as more valuable and genuine. And it's going to be more received by others, because they're going to see it as a more genuine interaction, and they're going to see that you are not sacrificing yourself and that you have self-respect. The second thing that we are going to be communicating to someone when we stop people pleasing is that we value our own opinions, and that we have opinions, and that our feelings matter, and that we have feelings, and further, that it's safe to communicate those feelings, that you're a safe person. That means that they can also communicate their feelings to you, because if you're willing to communicate your feelings vulnerably and genuinely, and that you value your own opinions and you value your own emotions and feelings about things, that gives other people permission to do the same. That gives other people the opportunity to be vulnerable with you, meaning you're a safe person. You're someone they can share with, and they'll be understood. It also is a great indicator that they can have a meaningful relationship with you, that you will be someone that they will actually have a friendship with, that it'll become a deeper relationship, especially if it's a new relationship. And it means you're real. It means you're being authentic. And that means you're trustworthy. And that that they can invest their time and energy in you in the friendship. And that then they can risk as well. And what's great about this is this causes them to grow as well, which is really cool. the third thing that we're communicating to people when we stop people pleasing and we decide, I'm not going to people please anymore and I am value myself and I'm safe. The third thing that we're telling them is that we are going to own our own opinions. It means that we're going to be genuine with them. We're going to be honest with them. That we're not going to be a difficult human. It's also telling them that you're an assertive person. This is going to communicate to them that you're not going to feel guilty about your opinions, that you're not going to make them feel guilty for their opinions. And it also means that you are going to stop someone from doing something that is going to hurt you or hurt them. Again, it just means that you're like a safe, real person. And when you're willing to assert yourself, when you're willing to say, I don't like that, I don't want to do that. This is a very healthy thing. And honestly, this is what other healthy people who are not narcissists will value and they're looking for a genuine connection with other people, whether it's a business relationship, a intimate relationship, a friendship, even like, neighborly community type relationships. People want genuine connection. They want trustworthy people. They want people that they can rely upon. And really, when you're a people pleaser, you may think that you're communicating that you're reliable, and you are in some sense. But here's the thing, is that there is a limit to it. At some point, you're going to hit a wall. And that really means that you're not truly reliable because you're trying to do it in the strength that is not genuine and pure to do the thing. So you're not going to be as reliable in the long run. And I think the last thing that we communicate to people when we go from a people pleaser to stopping people pleasing is that I'm not responsible for your emotions. This is super empowering for both people, for both parties, because when we stop taking ownership of other people's feelings and tiptoeing around them and making our decisions based on how we think and assume someone is going to feel about a situation, we can be more genuine. And this also causes the other person to own their own emotions. When we don't take them on for ourselves and say, I'm going to own that thing that is not mine because of this decision that I made, I disappointed you, so now I'm going to take your disappointment on myself. This causes other people to grow, to face their own emotions, to face their own mess, to face their own wounding and healing and need for growth. Is it easy? Absolutely not. I have literally experienced that this year. And it's challenging people to rise up. Here's the thing that really sucks about it. Sometimes people don't. They make that choice. But this gives the opportunity for them to actually see and experience their own emotions and see where maybe their emotion is not lining up to the truth about a situation. And it just makes people more aware when you don't take their emotions on for yourself. You make them feel their own feelings. And if they don't, that's on them. You don't take that responsibility. This also gives us more room to take responsibility for our own feelings and take responsibility for our own actions, our own mess, and our own wounding to be able to heal. Okay, so your challenge today. Your challenge is this. Where are you taking on somebody else's stuff? Where are you people pleasing? Where are you not being assertive? Where are you not showing your value? Is it all the way across the board, or is it maybe in a certain area of your life, with certain relationships even? It's time to be aware of these things. And so find out where, find your place of where you're doing this. And then the follow-up for you is this question. What are you afraid of to change this behavior? I've had someone who said, I know all the things I need to do. I've just not done them to stop people pleasing. I know all the things. They watch my videos. They read things that I write about people pleasing and approval. And they're like, I know all these things. I'm just not doing it. So here's my question if you're fall in that category. Why aren't you doing it? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? And if that question feels really big, and you're not able to fully express it, or you're not willing to fully express it, let me help you. I'd love to help you. I have a people-pleasing liberation from people pleasing workshop coming up on January 25th, 2025. It's from 10 to 12. It's on Zoom, Central Time. And for those who can't make it because Central Time doesn't work for you, or you can't make it live because you have something else scheduled for that day, we are going to be recording the Zoom workshop, and it will be distributed afterwards. You can register for this workshop, the Liberate Myself workshop, again, January 25th, through the website that I'm going to put down below. And I would love for you to come to this. If anything that I have said about people pleasing, whether in this video or other videos, and this is something that you really want to conquer in 2025, this workshop is for you. We're really going to dive deep into the psychology of why we people please and why we are not stopping people pleasing, even if we know the things. I'm going to give you lots of tips and tricks. I'm going to give you the step-by-step way to break people pleasing, to find liberation, so that you can live a more liberating life. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm really excited about this. It's my first time doing a paid workshop like this. And I feel like it's a really great deal. If you are a subscriber of mine to my newsletter, you can get this workshop at a discount at $20.25. If you are not a subscriber to my newsletter, we paid the regular price, which is $37. Either way, I think this is a great opportunity for anybody who is having difficulty with people pleasing and actually breaking it for good. You need to be a part of this workshop. All right, guys, I am really excited about moving forward and seeing where you are at with your people pleasing, and for me, liberating myself even more this year. I hope you have a great weekend.